This week on Cantina Chronicles, we dive back into the comics to review both Star Wars, Jedi Knights, and Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent. Let's go. Welcome to Cantina Chronicles. This, if you haven't heard this before, we're a Cantina crawl, a weekly Cantina crawl across the Star Wars galaxy where we have delightful discourse about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, theory, synthesizing all media. We contextualize your canon. We're your landing pad for all things Star Wars. Grab your seat and let's chop it up. We're at the Cantina here with Grant and Adam and myself. I am Ben. Guys, how are you?
Yeah,
Grant's back, buddy.
I'm so happy to be back. This is great, guys. This is
missed you.
Honestly, this is therapy to me. Like, if I don't have this pod going on, I don't know. There's no Star Wars going on, and I was thinking about the comics recently, and it's really all we have until the movies come out, and Maul, obviously Maul Shadow Lord, but they're so rich and they're so good, and I'm just so happy to be talking about comics with you guys today.
I know. It's my favorite thing. You know me. I'm a big comics head. It's like I define myself pop culturally like half Star Wars, half comics. So this is like the perfect Venn diagram for me. I'm so excited to talk.
Comics, Star Wars comics are my cozy space. I always love. I do practically wait for them right before the pod so they're fresh in my head so we can talk. But it's like the most delightful time to just like read a full arc, which we've been doing. Which I think because there's not as much material to cover, we're gonna catch up on a million comics in the next few weeks that we've missed that have all wrapped up at the same time.
I know,
and then we may just go issue by issue and like really focus on give comics the love and attention they deserve. So I'm excited about that.
I don't know what's going on right now with the comics. I feel like some ongoing series like Legacy of Vader just wrapped up. The Dr. Aphra, which we'll talk about today, was only but it was a mini series, not an ongoing. And I feel like the only ongoing one they have right now is the mainline Star Wars, which is a first for Marvel. Like they're gonna do some more. There's some more mini series coming out. Oh,
Jar Jar?
What's that?
Is Jar Jar
black, white, and red?
That'd be amazing. Oh, I want to will that into being. So just side note, we talked about Galaxy's Edge. Was it last week? We talked about some of the revamps.
Yes, we did.
What's coming is a comic to explain how that works. So there's going to be a Galaxy's Edge in canon comic with Luke and Leia and Han visiting that too.
Visiting, but see, that's fine. I love it. Just pen it right into existence.
Yep.
That's great. And it'll be a comic too. So it's like, okay.
And is it sort of trying to show Batu in during the Galactic Civil War and just after and sort of like defining that period of time?
Yeah,
because the parks are going to segue to the original trilogy sort of characters and things like that. So it's all like
the park is going to be the park's going to be divided, or that area is going to be divided directly in half. And one side is sequel trilogy, and one side is original trilogy.
Really?
Yep.
You've seen the schematics for this? I've
the
seen
Death
Star plans?
Crudely drawn things that have come out of what people have said. I mean, there's a ton going on. The other thing I found out today is they're introducing original John Williams score to the parks. And when you're walking around, you can hear like the Force theme and other things. And I'm like, yes, of course. Thank you.
I wish they would just keep Rise of the Resistance, but just the part where you're flying around in the little go-kart inside the Star Destroyer. And it's like they could just make it a little shorter, right? Like it could be
what are you
the
talking
back
about?
half of it.
Make it 10 minutes longer. That's the best ride ever. Like the fact that the queue was right. Sorry, I will.
Yeah, that's the best ride I've ever been on in my life.
It is.
Yeah, like Kylo Ren like uses the Force on you. That's all timer.
Spoilers, bro.
No, it's
all timer.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many of our listeners.
Is that ride still there?
Oh yeah, that ride is still there and very popular. It's still the rides are pretty popular. They're doing a giant revamp on the Millennium Falcon ride that's coming out the same day as Mandalorian Grogu, because now it actually features them, and you can have like different you choose different ways to go, so it's a little more choose your own adventure. So I'm excited about that. But
that's cool.
And then maybe a third ride at some point because they're spaced and they announced it would be. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. We don't have a ton of news to talk about this week, but I did see a funny headline that made me chuckle and wanted to just talk about with y'all. Is Sean Levy mentioned that he said there will be no legacy characters in Starfighters. Please stop asking. Imagine being in their shoes, like
It couldn't.
That's
their
like,
twats.
that's a tough contingent of the fan group, though. It's like the fan base. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
who is that wanting of legacy characters that they're constantly questioning, like or raising that?
There's a lot of Star Wars fans, man, and we're in a very funny subgroup up here, sort of, cross-cutting all the media, breaking down the stuff, demanding, Andor tier, lore and all that. And there's, everyone can love Star Wars in their own way, and that's super great.
Sure.
But I'm just like, yeah, of course they're not going to have, like, I would never expect Luke, Han, Leia, maybe Chewie.
Yeah, maybe Chewie.
But, I think he's trying to write something new, is what he's been saying. I'm holding on to that quote of his. There's a lot of quotes you could hang on to, but I think that's cool. But so the question that you brought up, Grant, which was also my question, you brought it up off recording, but is Rey a legacy character?
Yeah. What does legacy character mean? Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was kind of pushing for the idea. I was kind of pushing the idea that if this film is going to have a really interesting button that sort of ties into maybe saga territory and where the future of like the sort of like the overarching story is going, you'd maybe hint on where Rey is at during this movie, sort of like where she's maybe located, what's going on, and possible appearance, right? But like I don't think you can do it like Darth Maul and Solo. You can't just like have them pop up. It has to be earned, and it has to be sort of like there has to be a breadcrumb of sort of that appearance early on, or something that hints at the possibility of understanding maybe where a New Republic leadership lies, or who's commanding that, the New Republic or the Free Republic or whatever we're going to call it at this point, and where Rey falls into that, and where the Jedi fall into that, right? Like, are the Jedi still going to be guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy? I feel like they could have a different role. Maybe we learn a tiny bit about that, especially if this kid is force sensitive. If the kid is force sensitive and the movie is sort of moving and there's a spiritual storyline alongside the Starfighter story, and we're not gonna, that's not gonna be, then that itself is then a setup to Rey. You know what I mean? Like anything that's spiritual in the story will be somewhat of a setup for Rey, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it would be interesting to see her in the movie, but obviously that's like the only character that could be considered legacy, given that they're in the movies beforehand, and that I don't know could be in it. I don't see any other character.
Finn would be a great. I mean, if they did a Boyega cameo as Finn in there, because according to Lego Summer Vacation, he's out there recruiting, new Jedi. Like this, that would make sense actually. Right, the canon, like totally not canon, but kind of canon, and like all we have to hold on to is
doesn't Rose make a lot of sense as well, because she was sort of like a fleet mechanic, and then she gets promoted, right, and all this sort of stuff. That would be
fun.
I really want, because I like Rose. I like the actor quite a bit. I like that. I really hope they would kind of thumb their nose at the internet trolls and just put her in more stuff. I think it's a really compelling character, and so. And
another bite at the apple, like give her some new.
Well, she's like Admiral Tico, like, or something like that, and like just walks into a scene. You're just like immediately accept it, and it enriches sort of the sequel trilogy. I
don't want another repeat of Rise of Skywalker, which was like the groniest moment of like, you all go have fun, I'll stay here, guys.
Maybe she could have a whole, like, a whole thread of the story could be hers or something. That could be cool too. Something where she's a commanding force.
So talking about Rey, that actually brings something up that we talked about last week. We talked about that in the Kathleen Kennedy exit interview. She never mentioned the Rey movie, right? And so Daisy Ridley has been promoting this horror movie she's in. Actually, it's supposed to be very good. It's a zombie movie. I haven't seen it, but it's gotten really good reviews. We Bury the Dead. Is that what it's called? Is that the title of it? Anyway, but
this is all news to me.
I got it up on my list. It got really good reviews. It's like they it found something new with zombie genre. But anyway, she's been asked directly about it, and she's just like, nope,
Yeah, we
it's still
buried the dead. You're right.
happening. It's still going on. She said it's slow. Don't This is a quote, like, don't expect any news until at least 2027.
Wow.
So
So, like, we're not
Starfighter
gonna
or
hear
after
anything.
Starfighter.
Well,
for a year.
so okay, let's do a little math. So Grant, we pontificated last week that maybe that movie is just getting folded into either the Kinberg trilogy or Starfighter. And
I
it's
think
just
the Kinberg trilogy is an entirely new trilogy set in an entirely different era of the timeline, possibly far-flung future, or possibly
okay.
past. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I thought that was like post Skywalker future, but I'm basing that on nothing. So that's cool. This is again news to me. But we thought she might be full because we know based on that Kathleen Kennedy article that she said the Kinborg trilogy is very much happening, and she's excited about it. There's like another round of edits on the scripts, but you know that's a thing. And so I'm just wondering if maybe Charmin directs one of those, or it's just gets put into something else because it's like you can't raise the elephant in the galaxy.
I think Dave Filoni's going to do the Rey storyline, and
You
sort of
think?
yeah, I think he's going to have a real hand in the Rey storyline, and I think they'll have to bring up a new villain, and the villain is sort of where Filoni's going to come in the most as to what is this new threat.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing. I also want to do a whole pod with you guys about like what is the next sort of like hero in the monomyth of Star Wars. Like what is the next Luke Skywalker or Rey character for a Kinberg trilogy, or like what is that chosen one? What is that hero with 1,000 faces? Like what is that new protagonist? I would love to talk to you guys about that in a whole pod because that'd be fun.
That is a whole pod.
I mean,
Or like what do you think audiences want? You know what I mean? That's very interesting.
We already know it's
all right.
We already know it's Broom Boy, right?
Yeah, Broom Boy. We'll have to. Yeah,
Starfighter could very well be Broom Boy, like just the sort of like.
Yeah, because like the
retro
whole
fashionable.
framework is me sort of like thinking that Rey's going to dictate whatever the next form of the Jedi are. And for me personally, in my own tastes, I really wanted to get her to go back, like really lean into the texts and have it be more arcane and have them like witchy and like, and force magic, and it's like less this Guardians of the Galaxy sort of thing and more sort of, I don't know, tapping into the spiritual side of the force and really and like kind of losing herself and like sort of like really go wild at the beginning, and then it comes back to a more reformed over time, like sort of revamped Jedi Order 2.0. But like it gets, it starts wild and she's like, we've just got to learn again, sort of let's go back and review the history of the Jedi.
I just think she has to be, there has to be conflict of some kind though, and she has to be
of course
going up against some juxtaposition that represents something again for her. And maybe she's not the main character. I don't know. I have no idea what the next iteration of these Star Wars movies
she's still going to define it whether she's the focal point or not.
Yeah.
Like almost what's funny is I think she's going to go on to have sort of maybe I obviously didn't really want this, but I know a lot of people wanted the sort of hero of the original trilogy to sort of like in the next 3 films sort of again be a primary, sort of character in the entire piece that sort of like shapes the piece, right? And that didn't happen for Luke. Luke is just sort of like teaches a lesson, moves on. It's beautiful. We love it. I think Rey should go through all 3 of those next movies. Like I think she's young enough to, and it's like I think she should do all 3 and have a lot of impact in the story. Like I'm hopeful she's impactful in the story as well, and like maybe solves the primary or arch villain, issue or villain.
I love that she's on the sort of the periphery, and again she can be sort of, we can have both things. Like she's a little bit like on one, and like people are like, I don't know what's up with Rey, but she's in like this deep like force magic investigation. She's like looking at temples, she's looking at ancient texts, and doesn't really pertain to the main character, but the lessons that the main character learns he brings back to Rey and sort of elucidates to her what direction the Jedi should take. In the
Do you know
current-
what we haven't spent much time on in the movies? Jedi Knights.
Yeah,
We spend a lot of time on Padawans and we spend a lot of time on Jedi Masters. You know what we haven't had movies about? Jedi Knights. People actually like in their prime, which is fascinating if you think about it. So like this is why I'm like, can we make this movie now? I don't want to wait another 35 years again. And then we end up with like a person skipping from being like with Luke, basically a Padawan through his trials. And then he's a master, right? Like
he's a farmer, then he's a master.
Right. And so part of me is like, yes, we need to get some movies made. I mean, granted, you wait 10 years, she's still, you know, at that level. I'm also kind of excited. I hope they keep it as a standalone because I feel like as a standalone, they can get a little weirder, right? They can do something that you're talking about, Ben, if it's just a single movie as opposed to having to try to like build out a three movie narrative arc where it's just, I don't know, it just feels grander as opposed to this more introspective
It's also like Return of the Jedi Luke, but for 3 movies, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
It's basically just Rey just kicking ass, like in 3 movies, and you're just like revving your fit. You're just like popping in your seat in the theater. You're loving it, and just the acrobatics, right? Like they already exhibit a lot of like really cool stunt work in Rise, and it's too bad the story and like the scaffolding around that stuff was weak because it was really cool action set piece moments. But you could do a lot more of that with Rey, and it really set a precedent for the power of a Jedi, right, and the strength of a Jedi.
Yeah,
with that character, you know what I mean?
Yeah, give her a Padawan. Like let's watch her, in the Galaxy's Padawan. Let's do what we're going to talk about the Jedi Knight series in a bit, but like let's have a Qui-Gon Obi-Wan type story with Qui-Gon as the Jedi Knight and an apprentice.
Yeah. I love that. And if I can circle back to the timeline there, 27. So we know 25, we're getting Mandalorian and Grogu. 26, we're getting Starfighter. 27 is like the Kinberg trilogy starts.
Right. Yeah. So that's what she said. Like, we're not going to have news about it until 2027.
Yeah.
So that means 2030.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that Kinberg trilogy might.
Yeah, I mean, true.
I do wonder if Rey is being like is sort of being kept in the holster for if the slate goes bad. Basically, if they do a lot of original projects and the slate kind of turns sour and they don't make their money, they don't make as much as projected as they would project. Yeah. Maybe it's like a fail switch. A switch of like fail save of sort of like just doing the Rey movie and bringing Chewbacca back. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like, let's just bring things back. And then just like the nostalgia factor will win over a bunch of people. It's kind of a fail save. It's kind of like a last ditch. Oh my God, this stuff is not working. Let's just go back to this iconic imagery. And like, it's the actual story or whatever.
Right. I mean, we know that Disney loves their like 8-year revivals of all their movies and like, the legacy Disney animated movies like that. They're probably thinking the same thing with Star Wars a little bit, where it's like, we need to sort of do a sort of, I don't know. This is actually kind of cynical, and I hope it doesn't happen.
No,
but you know what I mean? Like 2027's kind of that like 8-year return timeline of like, okay, now we need sort of the return of A New Hope to sort of like bring along a new or of the hero's journey.
Yeah, but you also want to know like what that yellow saber is all about. You want to know like you want to know what's going on with Rey. Like stuff is going on.
That's all I care about. Yeah.
Also, like what's going on with the new Jedi Order? Like, come on, all I ever wanted is like the formation.
It's like, where are the knights?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about attachment? Tell me a story about attachment. Sorry, I've been saying this for like 7 years as we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, like the High Republic did something that I thought the movies would eventually do as a sort of answer to the prequels, which is like there's 2 Jedi that are showing attachment to one another. 3 actually that are deeply attached. And it really focuses on them, but it doesn't really go there. It does go there, but like it doesn't. It could really go there even more.
Elzar and Avar smash.
Yeah, Elzar and Avar do smash. That does happen.
Sorry, spoilers.
And but
major spoilers.
It's more so that like you almost would think movies would eventually do that, right? Like you'd almost there's attachment within the Jedi that we need to solve or we need to examine, and it sort of shows a truth about sort of how Obi-Wan led his life and how you can lead with, the Satine relationship is attachment, but Obi-Wan isn't. It's not the toxic form. attachment, and you can be a just Jedi. You know what I mean? It's tough though.
Oh, he's that line. He's like, I would have left the order for you.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
But especially with like how wild people went on with the Raylo stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'd be primed for like, yes, let's tell a horny Jedi story.
Oh yeah, that's what. It was getting incredibly horny at the end. The Star Wars the fan base was just vibrating at the end. With the Last Jedi with the rubber gloves and the raindrop and the sort of like the fingers just edging closer and closer together. Like fans were just like, I couldn't even. I can't even tell you. It was an experience. You had to be there. And then Rise just sort of doubled down a little bit. It was like, oh, it's like we're doubling. It was just like bad. I think people were upset with how it was handled. They were like, wow, the steamy romance was just like totally thrown away in Rise of Skywalker, and it's sort of like feuding, I don't know, children that then kiss at the end randomly, and it just feels weird. But but like right.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
They could totally do it, but I don't know.
Accurate.
For me, it's like I almost want just like an earnest story again of just like maybe there's a smuggler and a Jedi having a romance off to the side somewhere. It's like great and all, but like I do almost want like what's going on with knights and the chivalric like sort of like code of like the Jedi, and like I want to know about like how Rey is teaching the next Padawans and if she has a Padawan, and if I almost think like, I don't know, in my vision of this, I almost think like maybe she should teach everyone at once and like have a lot of I almost see her if this movie does happen, like I almost see her teaching like everyone in the temple, like Yoda, like a grandmaster.
Yeah.
Like grandmasters usually teach like everybody, right?
Have her be like in
She's the next
High Republic.
grandmaster.
Yeah,
Right.
I think she's got to kind of be above the fray. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So she teaches everyone, and then she
Rey
probably
weird
notices the one Jedi that is having attachment issues or having trouble, right, and going through strife of some kind, and she's like, and then we have some sort of story beginning there, but like at the same time, it's so tough to do like the Fallen Padawan now. When
I mean,
it's crazy that we did the Fallen Padawan, and it like wasn't that great. Like both times, it was kind of like quickly glanced over, and you almost really want to sit in that. And I don't know. I don't want a whole another trilogy to do that, but just and sit in it for even longer.
But here's the thing, right?
When we had our chance to do it,
Anakin falls because he's in a system that's repressive, and he feels like he's not able to talk to anyone about his attachment issues. That's literally the reason it happens, is because he can't talk. And so what if you have Rey, who is reading up on the Jedi history, starts to go down that same path and realizes, no, like he starts to fall, right? And realizes, no, we need to talk about this. Obviously, it's got to be more exciting than that. But like, in other words, not just condemning attachment, like actually like using it for a force of good, right? So saving the Padawan before the Padawan completely falls, instead of falling into the same trap that the Jedi did with Anakin, right? Like it's a redemption, redemption. If that makes sense, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
but she doesn't want to like
actually
stab the
learn from the
Padawan in their
past.
sleep or anything like that. I like that.
I mean, depends on what she sees in her dreams, but
I kind of actually would love a Rey that's terrible with people. It's sort of like, oh, Master Rey, I'm having trouble focusing, and she's like, stop being stupid. Like I don't know how to deal with you. Like
I grew up alone on a desert planet.
Alone, in an
Stop your
AT-AT
whining.
buried in the sand.
Yeah.
Like I just have no people skills.
Yes.
I almost feel like the
Go
people
talk to
who
a
are
My only friend
He's
was a
like
Tito
really
named
lovely
Tito.
man. Yeah.
I do have a theory about Starfighter. I mean, hearing that there's a lightsaber battle in Starfighter shot by Tom Cruise is absolutely wild news. But my theory is that if there is like some spiritual side to the story, wouldn't it be like a young boy or child that uses the Force in a sort of like skirmish that the New Republic's involved that then catches the attention of Rey, that then would be like the first Padawan or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be someone who is part of some sort of like epic mission fighting remnant Sith Eternal that like would then catch Rey's interest and she'd be like, oh, you're worthy of being a Padawan in my temple. And then you see the temple and Ben is like in tears, like in the theater. It's like we finally see the temple.
Yeah, absolutely.
And seeing the temple is huge. And actually, we know where it is, right? Don't we? We know where Rey's temple is. Ossus. Is that right? Or is that the original temple? Is that Luke's temple?
That might be the original.
That's-
I think that's Luke's on.
It's
Yeah.
Luke's on Ossus.
Luke's was on
Yeah.
Ossus.
Right. I forget.
I feel like we
there's-
know where. I feel like we know where
Yeah.
hers is. I feel like they already hinted at it in the comics or something. I feel like there's something.
You're
Maybe
probably thinking of the Duel of the Fates script.
I'm really just thinking about those droids that are like cutting down bamboo and making Luke's temple on Ossus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
that's
Book of Boba
awesome.
Fett. That's like all I'm thinking about right now. But
Yeah, you're
trying to
thinking about
think.
Book of Boba Fett, your favorite series.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I promise you, I'm not.
I
there
mean,
was
you were
a,
just
there was a
you're
comic
just
that I
talking
thought
about Book of
showed-
Boba Fett. I'm just saying.
To be
Was it
honest,
like was it like Rise
might-
of Skywalker adaptation? Like the final panels of
know.
that? Something.
know.
There was
Also-
We're
some-
here to synergize all media.
I promise
We're
we
your landing
synergize
place
it
for all
all.
things Star Wars.
that's true. It is odd that the series I think about most probably is Book of Boba Fett, just because of that one episode.
That one episode is so good.
I mean, you guys love Book of Boba Fett.
just Grogu learning how to
right in the
jump.
center.
Are you kidding me? Like that was awesome.
I got to rewatch.
Yeah, no, I mean, kind of great. That's why I mean positive about Filoni. Okay, we've been recording for 25 minutes now.
How do we do
That's
this?
too long.
Every time.
Yeah, we haven't taled about the comics yet.
All right,
This is
the
super
comics.
fun. You can tell where our minds.
Sorry,
are.
just start it here.
Push
Just start
forward,
now.
what comes next.
We'll just cut it. Start it right here.
I'm not. I'm
No,
not. This is my
keep
favorite
it.
stuff.
Clean
Keep it
show.
all.
This is
I'm gonna-
the core of what we are at the Cantina.
I'm
We're
going to keep
having a couple-
referring back to it, so it's impossible to cut.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having some spiked blue milk at the bar. Beverages are going down, and we're talking about what we love, which is lore and the Jedi.
And we've got a lot more of it in these comics.
We do. Where do you guys want to start? You want to start with Dr. Chelly Aphra, or do you want to hang out with Qui-Gon Jinn?
I don't know. I weirdly I read Aphra first, so I'm like, let's do Aphra. I don't know if that matters.
I'm down for. I
let's
read
do
Aphra
Aphra.
first too.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tired of my own voice. Adam, do you want to take us into this?
Sure. So I mean, one of the most exciting things about this is we didn't really know. We got a little bit of Aphra's fate post original trilogy, and I think she was in one of the certain point of views and showed up in the one of the comics. It was like, yep, she's still around, and so it was really exciting to actually see we're doing this right. We're going to actually tell a Dr. Aphra story post Return of the Jedi, and we get it from Cherish Chen, who is the first time writing Aphra, and I mean, not to spoil it, but I think does an amazing job with it. It's a 5-issue,
Awesome.
5-issue miniseries. So that's also a change, right? We usually have had ongoing series with her, and so knowing that she had to kind of tell a story in 5 issues, and it's very much I wouldn't say necessarily, but it's like a buddy cop
Yeah.
series, right? Like, and she keeps getting different buddies, but first she's teamed with Luke, and then Han, and then Chewie, and then, spoiler alert, my favorite thing ever, a gonk droid,
And then a gonk droid.
and then a gonk droid.
It's like, did you write this, Adam? Is your
Maybe.
like
I-
a name Cherish Chen? Because
I had my notes earlier, and I wrote, I was totally on board with Luke and Han and Chewie, and wait, a gonk droid? Come on. Like, this is the best
on.
thing ever. A gonk droid that has been changed so it can ram things.
we didn't know how, aka Stripes,
Stripes.
was her affectionate name, because it looks like it had claw marks down the front, which is
Mm-hmm.
like, I got to know more about this gonk droid. It is a DG-87.
There you go.
Is the designation for this gonk droid. Attack gonk droid
Yes. Give Stripes their own series, please.
series. Yeah, I want to know more about Stripes. And like that's
Triple
part of
Zero who?
Right. I mean, so this is the like she really played Cherish Chen really played all the like Aphra notes in
Yeah.
a very new and fresh way without like heavy-handedly referencing back. But it's like, yeah, she had a great relationship with her droids, and she's like, I got to go back for my droid. You know, at one point when she's sort of like fleeing in a battle, like she has not forgotten about Stripes. She just met him, but
Yep.
is like, that's like he's my teammate, and I'm not leaving.
Loves her
him behind.
droids. Yeah, I think what Cherish I feel weird always calling people by the first name, but I will.
Ms. Chen.
Miss Chen. That sounds worse.
That's even weirder. Yeah.
It's so much weird. It's so weirder. So much weirder. What was perfect? Exactly that is like she hit all of the notes, and it didn't feel forced, and it felt new. It felt like the closest thing to Kieran Gillen's like original Aphra. Like it felt like the most Aphra since the original run that I felt in a long time. And the thing that sold it for me is I spotted at least 3 Indiana Jones direct references in this series.
No kidding.
And they're like,
The totem being fake? No.
Yes, the totem being fake. So you got one.
Yeah.
The totem being fake. Also, there's a moment in the first issue. It's literally page 2. She jumps out of a window, goes through an awning that breaks her fall. That's directly out of Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Third thing is there's literally a scene.
That's like a trope, but yeah.
It's a trope, but it's like, I mean, it's come on. And then the third one, which is the best one ever, is I can't remember what issue it is, but Han looks to quote unquote camera and says, you take the idol off the pillar that's like directly out of the beginning of and like winks. If you look at that issue, is literally winking towards camera. Like Dr. Aphra, you should do this. Like I don't know. I mean, anytime you're referencing
just
or
Han and Aphra fighting the eel people was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because have you guys learned about eels recently? They are aliens. They live. They can live forever.
No,
they only come
eels.
from one part of the planet,
Wow.
and they just slowly migrate across the whole planet. And they're a wild, and they're like they don't really procreate a lot. They're a fat. Like look up eels.
There are certain things in this world that I
fast.
believe are alien, like have come from other planets. Like
Eels are like the most alien thing ever,
Yeah.
and that species was super, super fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like artifacts galore, right? Like Artifact Hunter again. You're going back to it.
Yeah.
I also love a story where, a rogue is forced into working for the good guys and like trying to get out of it a little bit. What's funny is one note I had in the first issue when I was making notes was just like, wow, it felt like maybe deactivating her tattoos was kind of a way to get her back to basics, right? To kind of like take this thing away.
Oh, the electro tattoos being
the
disabled.
electro tattoos.
Yeah.
But then by like issue 4, I'm like, oh no, that's a really smart thing in terms of that explains why she's sticking around, right? Because
That's so funny when she can't slice the container where the artifact is in, and Han just smacks it with his DL-44.
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm a smuggler, remember?
Yeah.
Just hit things.
And she's like, you.
I also love that didn't he steal the artifact initially?
Yes.
He's like, yeah, and then it was smuggled by a guy, that guy being me. And I was like,
Yes.
this is she really captured the voice of Han Solo.
That's the thing.
in an
And she
awesome way.
captured Luke and she captured Han. Like she wrote both those characters spot on to where they are. Like Luke is still the naive farm boy in a lot of ways in those first 2 issues, which I love.
Yeah, and got like Aphra's voice, which is like classic Aphra being the rogue, but like in this new evolved state. And it's like totally believable, and it's still the same Aphra. And a glowing endorsement of Cherish Chench. It's like I had so much fun with this series. If I can just I'm going to do a 1-sentence recap of the series.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we haven't even spoiled. I don't know if we should spoil the very end of the series, issue 5, but I think we can't. We're going to put up
It's
a
been
wall
out
and
for
talk
a
issue 5.
while. I think.
It's been out for a minute. I know we're so late on these, but yeah, I'm just gonna say, supposed to go to jail for all her crimes. Luke puts in a good word, gets roped into working for Daggers, a new group with the
acronym
New
Dagger.
Republic. Yeah, acronym Dagger. For that they're relic hunters as an arm of the New Republic. Goes on many adventures with all the people. Discovers a long lost sibling.
Yeah, huge kind of revelation at the end that there's a sister. Yeah,
And is reborn.
Sister.
Really, yeah. But that's just like that's my 1-sentence recap of what happens with Aphra. But oh man, just so fun. Yeah, the stuff with Luke is fantastic. She's like, hey, like making light of the the whole Galactic Civil War, and there's just like one panel with him looking at his right hand and he's like, yeah, it was hard.
yeah,
It was
right.
like, it was so dark.
A little bit of that PTSD peeking through. Yeah.
Yeah, PTSD Luke, which is great.
Farm
Boy. She always calls him Farm Boy, and she's like, he's my friend, Barmfoy.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is, and this is just general about Aphra, is, I mean, we've talked about it before. One of my favorite characters in Star Wars, like full stop, whether it's, movies, TVs, written word, whatever. that a perfect foil for Luke, right? Like I think that she's
Yes.
always there to challenge Luke, right? And I love that Luke never changes, right? Like every time he still is that farm boy, even with her, but still appreciates that she knows the underworld, right? She knows how the wider galaxy works, and he will always be there to try to steer her in the right direction, but also understanding that she has knowledge that he doesn't, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, and yet she, time and again, she's like totally making fun of him for being so innocent. But
Yep.
she's like, don't ever change though. Like,
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
like, I still kind of love that about you.
Yes. Yeah. She loves the innocence. She really does. And being
And so do
an
we.
optimist.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. And cherish, like we're best buddies.
I know.
Like really that came through in the writing. It was just like, it's still, in Return of the Jedi, he is kind of still a dumb farm boy. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. So much
There's a
more.
lot of history,
I know-
right? They have a lot of history
Yeah.
together. So
yeah, at this point, yeah, goodness.
shared history.
Yeah. Other stuff, other like favorite things that happened that you want to hit on in the series.
Just that cool tropical island that she hangs out on. Chewie,
Yes,
for
with
Santan.
Chewie. Yeah.
Yes.
That issue, issue 4, I think.
That issue made me sad that we've never seen Wookiees fight in live action, like fight each other
Ugh.
in live action. Like I just want a Black Hair Santhan
Gnarly.
and Chewie fight in like live
a
I
action.
lot
want
of
to see an
tufts
Amando
of
and
hair
Grogu,
flying.
honestly. There's just a lot of
Maybe
creature
that's a
fighting.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah.
end. I guess we can get to like the final reveal of the sister, Dellen Aphra.
Yeah.
Pretty cool character. She's sort of like the spitting image of Aphra, but just short hair and like a hacker in like a basement, more like even almost more of a techie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though
Like
like
Mr.
if you could,
Robot,
yeah,
sort
if
of
you have Mr.
recluse.
Robot kind of
Yeah,
vibes
totally.
for sure. And a very cool character in that like both of them together could probably like hack and take over the Death Star. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
seem like they're really capable, and
Yeah.
it looks like they're going to be adventuring in the future together.
Yeah.
So I hope we
Which
get more
is-
of this.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
cool.
even if we don't get anything else, or if it's like, well, we will get something else at some point. But I mean, that could be a launch off for like a series or something. Like, it was a happy ending for Aphra, really.
It was. Yeah.
If that was the end of it, it was sort of like she reconciles with her estranged sister, and they're like, you know what, together we're kind of great. And they both sort of are like, hey, you know what, we've been on the run our whole lives, but there is good in us, and we have good tendencies. And they kind
Do
of,
we
like,
know how
have
this
some
gels with
discovery.
the origin story for Aphra that's sort of depicted in the second run?
It's very unclear. It's right because I think so she says sister and then it's corrected or her sister says sister and she's corrected by half sister, right? Is the correction?
Yeah, half sister.
That's right.
And that's
half sister.
it's a very, I don't want to say cheat's the wrong word, but it's a way to basically write that in without
It's one
messing with
branch
canon,
separate
because it
from
would
the Spurrier
explain-
origin stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I had the same thought of like, it's interesting to reveal a sister this late into the game when they've played a lot with her background, and I don't ever remember
dad,
sister being
yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
But I think it does the job. I think it makes sense why I like that, adding that character to it. I will say, like, I love the ending too. It's a bit of character development for Aphra. She's not completely changed, but is a little more like, yeah, maybe there is like something to this actually New Republic and not being on the run and like actually playing by the rules a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah, I like that too, because they were starting to stray a little bit into both siderisms.
Yeah.
Where it's sort of like, well, it doesn't matter what, Dellen is the name of Aphra's sister, and like,
Right.
she's like a little like anti-establishment, is just like, well, I'm not going to affiliate with any of these doctrines.
Yeah, and she's like, they made you their lapdog or whatever to
Yeah.
Aphra or something of that.
Right, and it's like empire, resistance, does it really matter? And it's like, it does, and I think at the end they sort of circle back to being like, I met this guy, Luke, and it's just like, he really kind of brought out the best of me, and is like, you know what, if you try to do good and you want this place to be good, you can actually do really good things for a lot of people. And I love that. There's that hope being, injected back into Star Wars where it belongs.
Yeah.
And the idea that they could do a lot together. Like, I think Aphra even says, like, it's been a long time since I've thought about, like, what we can be together or something. Like, something in sort of, like,
Yeah.
what we can accomplish or something. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. Because then now you just want to see, like, the next series of their adventures and like their high functioning and taking control of things for the New Republic and solving huge issues. They're almost like more effective than anyone, if they did want to do good. But I can also see them like still getting in the mix with artifacts, right? Like you always got to throw Aphra at artifacts. So I do wonder.
Yeah, but they're self-aware and they want to be positive. Like it was a good sort of like 5 issues to sort of like take some time to turn a real corner to be like, all right, we're going to get this character from still kind of chaotic neutral to maybe chaotic good and push her a little further towards that positive realm if that's where, this film wants to take this character.
I want to see Aphra go to like Peridia or something. You know what I mean? I want to see her do like something crazy.
That'd be bonkers.
Yeah.
That's pretty
that'd be amazing.
From Ahsoka season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be bonkers.
She could do extragalactic or unknown region stuff.
I mean, she would go nuts being able to also. Did you guys catch the time frame of the series? How long the 5 episodes take place over?
A year, right?
A year, yeah, which is interesting, right? Yeah. Like first time I read it, I didn't pick up on that, but I'm like, that's nice, right? That's an interesting way to tell us, like, like she was part of Dagger for a long time because they kind of do a bit of a time jump. I maybe it's issue 3 or 4 where the head of Dagger's like, well, you've done so great on like enlisted like 5 adventures that we didn't see, right?
Right, and they were like, oh yeah, there was this misadventure.
Her hunt for her sister was like a montage of panels too. That was
that probably took
her investigating different planets until she comes to a planet where they mistake her for her sister or something, and some mercenaries attack her.
Yeah, one of my favorite things from this series is like she's pulled out of prison on the recommendation of Luke and dumped into Dagger, and the leader of Dagger is Meteora Gray. Dr. Meteora Gray. I assume that's a doctor of archaeology.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just like introduced right away, issue 1. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's the next love interest for Dr. Jelly Aphra. I'm like, she's totally her type. It's like the cheekbones and the jawline and like that's like and the body type. I'm like, they're gonna do a like love interest thing here. They're gonna hate each other, then they're gonna love each other, and like blah blah blah. And like she didn't do it. And she's just like, yeah, there she is, and like it just didn't happen. I thought that about Lady
Zering. When Lady Zering came into the mix, and she's like Lady Zering. When she's nice blasters, that did happen. And she kind of there seemed like some flirting happening just at the start.
Yep.
And so then, I wanted to talk. Then she turns into a stone cold killer at the end, which you're like, Lady Zering is the coolest character in these issues.
Good heel turn.
Yep. Yeah. So Lady Zering and her brother, I believe, which is
Stingy or whatever. Stingy. Yeah. Stingy.
Stingy. STINGXI. Yeah.
Stingy. Yeah.
And their Campy is the name of their. Is that right?
Campy. Yeah, that's right. Campy is that the eels? Are they what are the eels called?
I didn't get a species name on the eels. They are part of. I did get their. They are the Quarter Clan, which is a weird name for. I don't understand the quarter reference. If we can ever talk to Cherish, we're gonna have to ask her about that.
I think when we talk to Cherish.
Yeah, but I didn't get a species on the Quarter Clan, but the Campy. I saw the first frame, and it's a beautiful series, by the way. I don't have the colorists on me right now, but I was like, did they use AI to animate this? Because then, like the first panel, when Aphra's hitting on Lady Zering, she's like, nice blasters. And you see them, and then there's this tiny little hand sticking out. It looks like AI. It's it has like an extra hand. Yeah. Like, and you're like, I was like, oh man, really? Like, is that where comics is going now? Are they resorting to AI and missing this? And then it's like, no. The Campy have 3 arms, and they have like 2. They're like humanoid, and then they have like kind of a tiny arm that comes out of their right torso. And they have a 3rd gun that they can pull with their tiny 3rd arm.
So I have a question
for you.
Gabriel
Guzman is the artist.
Right, is the artist. Well done.
Cheers, Gabriel.
Yeah, amazing. I have a question for you because I literally had this. I noticed the same thing. I didn't notice it until like maybe like 4 or 5 frames after that where I'm like, wait a minute, what? I had to go back and be like, the 3rd arm's always there. Here's a question. And if we ever get Cherish on the, this is my question for her, is like, are there left and right-handed ones? Meaning, do some of them have an arm on the left side?
On the left side.
right?
Inquiring minds want to know.
And is it like Star Trek where the people with the arm on the left side hate the people on the arms with the right side?
Right side, yeah.
That's the racism
I'm sure there's a
in
feud there.
that planet. Quick or random aside, any of you ever see the movie Monuments Men? Monument Men?
Yes, I have.
It's the most dad movie that ever dadded. Like,
yeah, a lot of big names in that.
Yeah.
I think
it's like Bill Murray,
Bill Murray's in it. I think
Jeff Bridges is in it.
Jeff Bridges. I think Matt Damon is in it. Yeah. It's a George Clooney joint. I forgot about that. George Clooney directed it. That's why it's boring. Sorry. I love him. Not the best director. But I mean, this is very much Monuments Men. Literally, as I'm watching this, it's like the Monuments Men were people who are basically some art history people and other people who were hired after World War II to go into old Nazi and find the artifacts that were stolen by the Nazis. And so I was reading them like, this is great. This is brilliant. Of course, the New Republic would go back and try to recover all of the stolen artifacts and art from the Empire that the Empire stole. I'm like, it's so great. It's such a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild.
It's great.
Dagger's command is great. Dagger team.
And then Grant, I remember you wanted to you mentioned, I don't want to steal from it, but you mentioned the title of the series, Chaos Agent.
Okay, I love that title. I love that title. Chaos Agent is, if you do a show or you do something, you need a subtitle for Aphra. It's like, I think Cherish Chen just absolutely nailed it, because that's what she essentially is in every series, and it's such a great title. She's not as chaotic as she was in the last series, though, which is like, the last series she's incredibly chaotic, and this series I think she's kind of following the rules and kind of helping out and kind of just hanging out with legacy characters and doing cool stuff. And last series I felt like was completely chaotic. She's like, the armor took control and was insane. Yeah.
She's at the point where it seems like she's still pretending to be a chaos agent, maybe even to herself, right? But she's starting to reform a little bit and doesn't really want to admit to that. I love it too, because I've only role played a few times, one D&D in the middle of this campaign, and even before the series, I always think of myself as Chaos Agent. Like, I want to break the game.
You are the Chaos Agent.
Dude, you did kidnap a child at the end of our last session, and you also
I took a species
you also
and
found
named
a
it after
wild
myself.
creature from a planet, undocumented creature, and sort of
jump in a spaceship and just start blasting away. So I do.
Dopt. He's a real Chaos G.
Yeah.
So anyway, but hey,
you're
listen
just a
to
rogue
our
scholar. You're our favorite rogue scholar in the galaxy. We're rogue archaeologists. You're very similar to Aphra in a lot of ways. Your character.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be? I take my inspiration from great places.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like she's a solid gold Star Wars character. Like,
honest to God,
it's
crazy.
It's just a little tweak on Indiana Jones, but in like the most Star Warsy way and the best way. And it's great.
But I think Indiana Jones. The irony of the whole thing, or the funny thing about the whole thing is, it's basically a combination of Harrison Ford's two best characters. It's halfway between Han Solo and Indiana Jones. It's Indiana Jones if Indiana Jones was actually a rogue and didn't believe that it belonged in a museum. Like, that's the difference between them. And it's brilliant. And I don't know. I will say this every time we talk about Dr. Aphra. How has she not been in a live action thing? Like, they're sleeping on their best character. I've said it a million times. Listeners will be annoyed. But every time I talk to my wife, I'm like, do you even realize you have not even met your favorite Star Wars character yet?
Yeah. That's exactly right. It is it's a gold mine, and there's so many stories to be told there. And that's why I'm kind of hoping, I'm like, all right, maybe they're just sort of like tying a bow in the comics, and it's like she deserves a larger audience because she's such a good character.
I do wonder what you do with Aphra, though, because like I almost think that space, the artifact relic space, is almost being utilized in the Ahsoka series. Like that whole it seems like we're really going into like ancient places and seeing ancient things and reading stone reliefs from ancient times and things like that. And I do wonder if, because Ahsoka feels very much like Indiana Jones,
right? But isn't that
character right now?
But almost isn't that the perfect place to introduce Dr. Aphra, right? To have like
great point.
The two of them to run into each other, and one wants to like do it to reinforce.
That's actually the coolest team up I've ever heard. Like that's actually a perfect team up too. Honestly, that's such a money team up. Yeah, I wonder. It's like,
I mean, Aphra.
yeah, and also like Aphra, like, do you do the Karen Gillan era of time or span of time where there's like a lot of Vader involvement with Aphra, or do you do like what's the core theme of Aphra too? Is it always like it's kind of sort of like Spurrier based, where it's like she kind of comes from like she kind of comes from like I don't, isn't her mom that's sort of like, I don't know if betrays her but leaves her or dies like quite early in her life, and it sort of leaves her just shattered. And
Yeah, I believe so. I think the Spurrier
it's
is
really
focused on the
dark.
mom
It's
relationship.
really dark. It's really powerful, and it's almost like
Yeah.
she's almost like, we say chaos agent a lot. Like there's some cartoonish like chaos happening, but it's also like there's a darkness to that as well. Like she's almost like a drift. There's a feeling of being adrift and in space,
Yeah.
suffocating. Right, like she's sort of like she's always running from something.
Yeah,
Vader,
she's not just physically running from something, which she
No,
is, but she's
emotionally.
also running for something like internally.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
like severely traumatized by Vader. Like not to throw a term around we've talked about before, but like literally has PTSD from her time with Vader. Like like it's a damaged character in a good way.
Yeah, and those are and it's really well done. It's really artful in the comics. Like, please go back and read those first couple series, and then they only get better. And Cherish is now taking it in a really fun new direction and adding a lot more heart. Obviously, with this sister character, this is really exciting to like add her, because Aphra works best when there's like a lot of like strife, but like a lot of like
there's got to be a
sort of like
foil.
human strife, a foil, and a lot of like interiority and like a family, and she works really well with like really close knit relationships. Like I found that to be really powerful when you kind of pair her with people, and it's like I don't know what the show would be, but like I wonder what span of time you would use, like where you would go with her in terms of like, would it be New Republic days? Would it be like a more experienced Aphra, like a sort of veteran, relic hunter that's sort of like, doing things for the New Republic? Like to me, that's kind of boring, because like, isn't that Mando? And like, I don't know what you do with that.
I mean, as much as I'd love to see the Gillian run, I think it, like everything we've seen so far in the comics, is kind of set in stone, and I can't imagine them sort of retreading that stuff. Even though, like, really, like those early, Vader and Aphra days were like my favorite, because I think it sort of set up that character and like how wild her life is. And that would be super fun, but I really think if we see her in live action, they're going to push her forward. And I think this series kind of does project her there. So maybe it is Ahsoka, maybe it is Rey, like, maybe it's in Starfighter. Like, if Rey, according to the Lego summer vacation film,
Sorry,
is looking for artifacts.
Been hanging his entire Star Wars hopes on a Lego TV show. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm just going on what I got here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
how does
if
Vader's mask
she's
get
really
into,
looking.
how does Vader's mask get into Kylo's sort of quarters?
boudoir?
Like how does
They told that one in the comic.
they did
I
that
remember
one,
what the
right?
comic was. Yeah, they told it in a comic and from a certain point of view, or from another book.
Okay,
But
so we did that.
They did that. Everything. See, we're at that moment.
I can't think of a
where
relic
we are,
that would make Aphra.
We are in
be an
deep
end note.
backfill territory of the sequel
Right.
trilogy.
I feel like us and the greater us, like Star Wars fans, they're clamoring for something new. I just don't think we can. Andor kind of was like the last sort of great original trilogy story that I think can be told, and they've got to get out of the Skywalker saga, and they've got to tell a new story that's like captivating and and opening up some new timeline real estate. I mean, as much as I'd love it, in the far future, we could go back and probably, it's not like there aren't stories to tell there, and especially with great characters like Aphra, but I just think we've got to move out of the original trilogy.
But I kind of love that, Ben. I'm like, yeah, let's like use, maybe that's the key. Maybe Andor was damn near perfect, and like maybe that's it. Maybe that caps it, right? Like that is the ending of that period. Let's move on to others. And I love her. Like there's parts of the Mandoverse I love. There's parts I'm a little less on, which is true of every Star Wars. But I really, really love it. And I do think Aphra fits there. I do think Aphra kind of falls into the Mandoverse quite well. Like I think you can get her in there. Yeah, no, I put her in there. I'm, me anywhere, just put her anywhere. But I agree. I mean, you can have your cake and eat it too, because you have a character who can have flashbacks, right? So you can have her flashing back to the things that we've seen in the comics. You can have a Vader flashback trauma scene if you wanted
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
All right, you sold me. I do see her in the Mandoverse, and I do see her uncovering the remnant Imperials and having much the same revelation that Boba Fett has, which is the Empire. They're back. Like that idea with her is great, and she's the one who would be on the front line of discovering the Sith Eternal, right? Like the Sith Eternal
Yeah.
are only known about by like C-3PO when he first spouts out the information, and then like
Sure.
her. You know what I mean? Like two
probably
people
her,
in the
yeah.
New Republic, right? It's like there's like two people who know about this.
And maybe that's the ultimate turn for her, right? In terms of her character arc towards good, right? Towards from chaotic neutral to just good.
Right.
Is that she sees the possibility of Sith rising again, and her trauma through Vader is just like, nope, I got to pick a side. I have to pick a side now. Like, I cannot let this evil come back around into the universe, into the galaxy again.
That'd be interesting.
You can
And
do
I
some
feel like she
Snoke
would
Aphra
know.
stuff too.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry. I was saying, I was just thinking Snoke could be utilized.
You're always thinking Snoke, bro.
Big on Snoke, and sort of like Snoke's got to do some political stuff, and he's got to do some galactic, sort of skirmishes before he takes control, right? Like, or before the First Order sort of announce themselves. And so, what is he
More
doing?
Snoke.
What are the activities? Is Aphra involved? And Aphra's a great character that's can sort of like one up the First Order, and fight them in the early stages, right? Because she's sort of like behind enemy lines and investigating and stuff like that.
You know who she would have been a great substitute for in The Rise of Skywalker?
Beaumont Kin. I was thinking Beaumont Kin should be in the Aphra thing, whatever that is. If there's ever a
They
show,
should know
like
each other.
Beaumont Kin should definitely be in there.
That.
And then we get more Dominic Monaghan, which is bring him back.
Not a bad thing. Yeah.
He like delivers like a Nemec level monologue where you're just like, this is some legend,
but
You
Star realize Wars. Now, every time you use him, you have to have him say at some point. Like, it's like, I have a bad feeling about this. Is he has to say somehow. He has to start out something with somehow.
Oh, he says somehow at some point, I'll die laughing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about delivering the most legendary line of dialogue? Oh, that's Poe.
Somehow Aphra brought us lunch and didn't get like a bomb didn't explode.
It's so weird because like Star Wars is known for throwaway lines like, oh, Clone Wars and stuff like that. And it's just like somehow should work, but for some reason, like actually saying the phrase somehow feels like going yada 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 Palpatine returned. Like it's just like you're forefronting it a little too much. Just because aside after like dark magic, cloning, I kind of love that part. That part like,
he's putting all the pieces together that we have no clue about. And we're like, wait, what? And then what? Dark magic. Yeah, I remember just like etching those words into my brain, being like, what do any of those mean?
Yeah.
Shall we talk about one more series?
Let's do it here.
Yeah. I want to give all these comics the time they're due, but we are going to double up here today and talk about issues 6 through 10 of the Jedi Knights series, which has been a bit of a montage in the first 5 issues, but this one sort of circles back. There was like one wee through line where there was a assassin trying to kill Qui-Gon Jinn, and that's for the most part what these 5 issues deal with. What's the assassin's name? Of course, as we all remember, is Corliss Wrath.
Corliss Wrath.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
But we may know him by another name by the end of this conversation. But peak sort of prequel Star Wars Jedi doing awesome Jedi stuff, and we start with Qui-Gon and Mace and Ayla Secura trying to settle a dispute, and Qui-Gon's assailed again by this assassin, and then and actually taken out with a poison, and then they've got to sort of figure this out, and they do. He's revived, obviously, and it takes them back to Qui-Gon's past and a mistake he made as a Padawan under the tutelage of Count Dooku, Jedi Master Dooku. and he has to confront it and tries to make a better decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly summed up.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah.
Right. And then there's a really cool issue in the middle. So that's like issues 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
And then maybe we should start with 8 because it's
Yeah.
just sort of it's an outlier
Totally.
piece. First of all, like this could be, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. I'll just say it this way. I love the color and I love the art in this. It could be my favorite.
It was
There's
very
a-
bright. It was very interesting. The coloring on it was, I noticed that as well, Ben. It's very unique.
It's my vibe. Like there's a lot of purples and reds and greens and turquoises. It's like a little like synth wave. Like if you looked behind me right now, if this was a video podcast, you'll see all these like LEDs in my room, and like that's the color of all of it. They just make me happy. But there's like something like when they'll show like the trails on a lightsaber as it spins around in a perfect arc, like when they're slashing, and there's like the depth to it, like the brightness and the like it's just beautiful, and it's hand drawn, and it's like the coolest thing. It's the most like just beautiful thing I've ever seen.
And it's the same artist and color artist of the other issues, which I had to go back and check because it does seem uniquely different, right? And so I always appreciate that when an artist can do a different
Do you have
style.
the name? Because I forgot
Yes,
it.
it's so the artist. I'm going to butcher these names, and I apologize if they're listening. I love you. Be on our podcast. I'm really bad at names. Is the artist is Madabek Muzabekov,
Okay.
and
I was looking at the colorist.
and the color artist is Luis Guerrero, something like that. Something. Sorry.
Yeah,
Apologize.
sorry, is outstanding.
Yeah,
the
it
whole
was
series.
Luis who I was thinking of because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, is it really like, is it just really the color? And like, I've never really looked at a color artist before.
It is
because it's fabulous.
It is. I picked up on that immediately. I mean, it's also. I mean, the other unique thing about this is it's every single panel is first person. Like everything, a single panel is from a person's point of view, which is also a fascinating. Anytime you do a gimmick in a comic book like that, I am sold.
You're in.
Like, yes, I'm like, tell us a new way. Like it's great. Yeah.
You're a child being recruited by the Jedi, and you're on your first situation, and things go sideways, and then Yoda builds you a lightsaber, and as a as a trophy. Like, yeah, it's a really fun issue. And yeah, it's the first person thing that was like, as a child and you're in the child's head sort of experiencing this adventure and the bandits and and the death of the first two Jedi you meet and sort of your experience. And I mean, that's some really delicate territory. It's sort of like, we do take kids from their parents. And it's like her looking at her crying parents, like being like, all we've wanted is what's best for you. That's the best thing we can do is, making this the toughest decision of their lives. And and being like, this is how you reach your full potential. And this is what you should do even if we never see you again, which is like, gut-wrenching.
And it's like, love or hate, like found footage, horror, whatever, it does up the stakes in terms of your emotional connection, right? Seeing through someone's eyes, like makes it feel that much more like, and so those scenes where she finds the Jedi, the people who found her dead, and when she finds the lightsaber and is fighting, like it does add that tension to a whole nother level.
Yeah, Suna is this first person's name,
and she's I think she's rescued by like Keller and Beck at the end, right?
Yeah,
Keller and Beck, baby.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Yeah, Ahmad Best's other character. There's no shortage of Keller and Beck love.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's
more power to him. Yeah,
he's an incredibly strong Jedi. In the Star Wars Unlimited card game that's out right now, and his stats are like better than any other Jedi. So just so fans understand, Keller and Beck means business. Like he's an all-timer Jedi master.
Yeah, and I love Keller and Beck. So the first two Jedis, it was Masters Kana and Longa, who sadly passed away in a skirmish. But they're sort of like, oh, stay back there, be safe, like get the plane ready. Like Keller and Beck comes in, releases her from prison, and is like, fight.
Yeah.
And this is an infant, pretty much, like a very young person, and she's like, all right, and she just taps into a part of herself she didn't know, and they escape, and And that's a fun little story. So that's the one little vignette they do in this arc. But the rest is Qui-Gon sort of coming to terms with his mistake of the past. He finds this assassin. The assassin mentions their home world, and it reminds him back to like really it's Qui-Gon's darkest moment, where Dooku dares to be like, use your anger. You should use your anger. And it's a pretty young Dooku in this too, like not a gray hair to be found. And he's already sort of like, and even now with like not really knowing the timeline, the Dooku timeline's so wonky for me, like when he leaves the order exactly. Because I think he could still be in the order according to certain, like the Filoni timeline where we saw in Tales. Like he didn't really leave, I think, until...
Yeah, isn't he like still walking around the archives and doing whatever he wants in the temple for quite some time?
Because I thought he didn't leave till Qui-Gon died. But I that's not confirmed, and maybe he left before then. So it's like he could still be there, but he's just sort of like, yeah, no, I got some bad advice from my master, and I did the wrong thing, and and it was a bad move. It was an honor fight, and he wasn't supposed to use the Force, and he used the Force and dishonored the other guy. But the moral of the story is like, instead of continuing persecutions, like you dishonored me, I dishonored you, I must
end the cycle of violence.
Yeah, to end the circle of violence. And he drops the saber and is like, do what you've got to do. But like I really think like we should both move on. And it ends up working. And his assassin's like, yeah, I'm gonna get on with my life, and teaches a very valuable lesson to a young Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that actually values it and understands the gravity of it.
Yeah, great, good summary. No, I don't know why I said that, but it's perfect. The artwork on the villain, quote unquote, is amazing. Like looks dangerous, right? And the dual like daggers. It's just so cool. So,
yeah, who's the Hogwarts villain? Who's the Harry Potter villain? Voldemort. They've got the Voldemort nose.
Oh yeah,
and like some scarification. They go through this like they have their own ritual.
The crucible,
the chrysalis.
Oh, chrysalis,
which
is chrysalis.
Yeah, which is a crucible of pain and suffering that you do for a vengeance like mission, and it's like all I've known is hate, and it's just like you can be whatever you want to be, and it like. It lands though. The story, it's like it's an about face for the quote unquote villain, but he accepts responsibility, and he's like, "What was done to you was terrible," and he ended up killing a Jedi Master and like doing all this stuff, and he's like, "You know what? You're forgiven. I was wrong," and they go on their way. It's a message of peace.
Yeah.
Nice to have a Qui-Gon story too before Phantom Menace. That sort of.
Yeah,
showcases a lot of what Qui-Gon's all about, and like you said, like I love that Obi-Wan sort of learns a lesson as well, and sort of trickled down, and Dooku obviously showing the darkness of Dooku, showing that Dooku is just pretty cruel and savage master, and how Qui-Gon can be so good from that is pretty astounding. It's pretty important stuff, and I really like that.
Right. I mean, we haven't fanned out on Qui-Gon Jinn in a long time, but if you're a longtime listener, you know that. If you're not, we're huge Qui-Gon fans. Like he's kind of, he's a fantastic Jedi and like really interesting.
He kind of becomes an independent thinker given if the Order produced someone like Dooku. Maybe I should just have my own thoughts about things.
Yeah.
I would look at it as kind of like he took the best part of Dooku, which was Dooku was always skeptical and always like he wanted to find his own path.
Yeah,
but Dooku's path led him to the dark side and he fell prey to his like baser instincts. Whereas like Qui-Gon was like, yeah, it's good to be skeptical, but now I'm being skeptical of the people that are skeptical also.
Yeah.
And, and listening to the will of the Force and using blood tests to test my theorems.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, it's so fascinating with the Dooku stuff because it's like a negative mentor, meaning that like, he learned how to be a good Jedi by watching what a bad Jedi is like, right? Like basically, but you're right, took certain things, wasn't completely dismissive of like, yes, it's good to question things and think things through and not just take the lessons as or as doctrine being taught to me as route, right? Like
It's almost like the ultimate flavoring of the text. It's like this master flavored the text, and now that I know that people will flavor the text, maybe I should just have my own idea for how things work and operate. And that's sort of how I feel about it. Like learning the skepticism is important, but also understanding that why is he pushing the dark side? Why is he pushing me to use the Force? Why is this happening? It's sort of like it's a lot of learning from the teaching styles that maybe you didn't gel with your morals or something.
Right. And we had a podcast on Core World News literal years ago where we did like a what if episode, and it was like one of them was like, what if Qui-Gon didn't die? And it's like Qui-Gon raises Anakin like roll credits after Phantom Menace pretty much, because like on the Skywalker saga, because I think he would have done a much better job with Anakin than poor Obi-Wan would have.
Yeah, Obi-Wan was thrust into a position he wasn't ready to do, or was a bad fit. It's
right. But Qui-Gon's like, I can, he's like, I can navigate this, and I think he would have. He's like, yeah, I've seen the dark side before. Attachment's normal, and you should be.
He would have seen Dooku in Anakin, right? Yeah. And he would have been able to avoid falling on the same thing. I realized we talked about
you see literal Dooku, who was a Darth, like
also true,
Darth Lord. Yeah.
I realized we talked about the artists, the writer. I just want to shout out Mark Guggenheim is an all-star. He's had a career, fascinating. He's actually started in Boston as a lawyer. He's
no kidding,
lawyer in Boston, and then got
Mark
a gig.
Guggenheim Esquire.
He was part of a practice. Let's see, he was part of the lawyers at Hutchins, Wheeler, and Ditmar.
Oh, sure, I know them.
Sure,
yeah.
Good but then he's done a ton of writing for TV. He's really big in TV writing. He's a big part of the CW DC universe with like Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow and all that stuff.
I watched all of Arrow.
I did too. I watched all of the DC stuff because why not? But done a ton of comic book writing. Like did a lot for the X-Men, a lot of the Star Wars stuff, and so it's a person who clearly has a lot of experience with crafting long form storytelling and character development. And I think it really shows in this. And a series that I really enjoyed, just a shout out. Last year for Marvel, he did a miniseries called Bring On the Bad Guys. And every issue was about a different bad guy. So it was like a Doctor Doom, a Green Goblin, a Loki, a Mephisto. But it was done so well in terms of like some of these. It's hard to explain for non-comic book readers, but like ever so often they'll do a series that has a story arc, but every issue is is focused on a different character. So it's like this long form storytelling, and it was done really well. This idea of just telling this story through generations of bad guys, the Marvel universe, all working for Mephisto, the devil, basically, without knowing it. Anyway, just really masterful storytelling, and I think he does really well writing bad guys sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at these two comics. We'll look at probably two more comics next week. But it's just an interesting contrast with, a young upstart, up-and-comer, and then like a stalwart, like, all-star, two different series. Both are fantastic. And it's just, I don't know, it's encouraging and hopeful for me, like, to see that Lucasfilm's doing that, where they're feeding both sides of that. It's just like, you're great. You're available to do, this legacy series with all of Star Wars fans' favorite characters, and then we have a young writer on the other end of the spectrum, like really evolving a new character or a legacy character and making her fantastic. So
and you could feel
it's encouraging.
And you can feel those different types of energies coming through, right? Yeah. Like that's the way to do it. I'm not going to say it because I couldn't say it better than you did, and I think it's important to have both those. And it's similar. We talked about before. With movies and TV, I think it's important to have those, like to have partnerships between, creatives and people who know the lore. And I think with these other areas, it's really important to have, bring in people who are, who know what they're, not know what they're doing, but have a ton of experience, and those who have are new. Anyway, I'm now saying what you said, even though I said I wouldn't.
And now we're being introspective. All right, what did we miss? This is the end of the episode. What did we miss? What did we not talk about? Anything? Clear the decks, boys.
Incredible art.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and I think that's for me. That's the big standout for both Jedi Knights and, I mean, Jedi Knights especially. The art was just stunning, and then Aphra, great story, great. Not afraid for Cherish wasn't afraid to add lore, which was really cool.
Yes,
and exciting that there's more for Aphra to come.
Same. The other thing I'll say about the artwork in Jedi Knight is that lightsabers fights are a visual medium, right?
Yeah.
And the artist was able to tell lightsaber duels in a way that felt like you were actually watching them in real time, in a way that was like multiple panels over multiple pages. It was very dynamic, and that's always tough to do sometimes. So
it was it was the lightsaber trails to me that were like just resonated, and I was just like and it was just so beautiful. And it felt like you could feel the power of the lightsaber as it was white hot at its like emitter, and it was just sort of like the trails were the color. And
beautiful art. Gorgeous. Yeah, like any of those just as posters on your wall would just be spectacular.
Yeah.
All right, we soldier on. We're going to do another campaign eventually.
Yes,
we're doing
next week.
Best here.
What day do we have marked
we do
down?
have a date next week.
Yeah, we do have a date.
I think we said
we do have a date.
Wednesday.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get one of those in the banks, and we'll get it and put it out there.
Visit,
and continue the hunt for Vensatai.
Yep. And we'll do at some point more comics. My next vote is we have a couple of hyperspace stories we could cover. Nice little
there's a bunch of
those are always great. There's always lots of fun little adventures in there.
Yeah. We got a Poe Dameron and a Tides of Terror, but we'll see.
Right. I know. We'll see if we go back to the Halloween episodes that we missed. But
I think there's stuff to talk about there. The Tales from the Nightlands is the weirdest one. It's 3 issues, and each issue takes place in a different era. So it's prequel, legacy, and sequel, but it all happens on the same planet, and it's fascinating in terms of all our characters dealing with. Like, what's that?
Is it Dathomir? Or is it
No, it's a new planet that I don't think it's been seen. But it's interesting in terms of like basically like it's a horror film where like like a lot of conceits in horror films, like every blank number of years an evil returns.
Yes.
So it's similar to that, but then you have like,
the different eras
dealing with it. So it's a fun, quick read. And then the Tides of Terror is pretty good too. If you want more Kit Fisto, you cannot get more Kit Fisto than this series. So
then Tides of Terror, because it's like all ocean horror.
It's all ocean stuff, yeah. And then Codebreaker is Poe Dameron. Moving on, we also have Outlaw. We have a novel coming out next week too.
Ooh, the Outlaws,
an Outlaws novel, which
is I think is a prequel to the game with K2SO and his comrade there.
Early buzz is pretty good. The early buzz seems to be like it's well written. So
that's Michael Chen who wrote that. I mean, and he's a stud. He writes great books. So I'm really looking forward to that novel and get into that. So lots of fun stuff. Looking forward to talking more Star Wars and having our favorite conversation of the week for real. So great. Thanks for joining us at the Cantina. And we'll talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cantina Chronicles. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to this pod. You can reach us at Cantina Chronicles on Instagram or cantinachronicles@gmail.com.